and good morning. I was trying to see, was it gonna come on? Because it's been, spinning around a minute. And I said, well, I don't know. I never know. I have Cox, but sometimes Cox isn't cooperative. But I hope you had a wonderful weekend today. It's another day. It's another new week. It's August. August. Can you imagine? Thursday camp brought in August, and I saw somebody yesterday said, "Why you have on white?" I said, "Well, first we always wear white to church, for our choir. If you're in the choir, so I did. I wore my whole white thing yesterday. Looked okay, and ready for the week to begin today. And I woke up early this morning, and I was just looking at, was up early enough to see the sun coming up and seeing right at the dawn of the day. And I said, you know what? I did the dawn like, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. And, I have a file cabinet of all of these things that I've done. Most of the time I create now. And I said, I really want to talk about the dawn because for some of us, the dawn is almost like a treasured time of the day in which we can write, we can think, we can pray, we can exercise, but it's our time to get one with ourselves and maybe just thinking about how are we planning our next actions during the day or the remainder of the week in this instance, or what is it that you have to do. For me, I love the dawn. The dawn is just a time that, I don't know, for some reason I come alive and I get a lot of ideas on what I should do with my day, what I may need to research, where I may need to go, who I may need to meet with. All of those things happen at dawn. And I know some people, the dawn, they sleep right through it. They know nothing about the dawn because their work may have them up half the night or some of the night, or most of the night or all night. I have a couple of people that go to work at, a couple of friends or relatives that go to work at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, um, I sometimes may wake up early and write, but in this instance, I'm more apt to sleep through the night and wake up about 5 o'clock, 5:15, and then also whatever the portion that what time of year it is when I also am good about waking up and getting in touch with my day. So when I look at the dawn, the whole idea of what the dawn does for me, I ask the question, what does the dawn do for you? What does it do? I have a couple of things here that speak to what others say the dawn does for them. The first one says um, the difference between rising at 5 and 7 o'clock in the morning for 40 years, supposing a man to go to bed at the same hour at night, is nearly equivalent to the addition of him adding 10 years to his life. That was Doddridge that wrote that quote. Another one says, and this one, I don't know if you know this one, but this one says, whether I retire to bed early or late, I rise with the sun. And that was Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson was an early riser. It says Jefferson rose every day for 50 years early. Um, I don't know. I've never needed a lot of sleep unless I was sick. But if I'm well, I'm probably up most of my day, and I am not a napper during the day. I'm just always looking at not life being nosy to me, but life being important enough that I want to spend every opportunity that I get to learn something, see something, do something. That is truly who I am. Here's another one. It says, next to temperance, a quiet conscience, a cheerful mind, and active habits, I place early rising as a means of health and happiness. And that was written by Flint. So sometimes we know that getting up early may be beneficial to us. We start the day early. We get more things done if we, because a lot of times they say our energy, our best energy of our day may be in the early morning, not at the latter portion of the day, but early. And so we may never know how well. I have another one here, and it says early rising not only gives us more life in the same number of years, but adds likewise to their number, and not only enables us to enjoy more extensive existence in the same time, but increases also the measure. And that was written by C.C. Colton. And the last one I have, yeah, is it says, "I think that if ever a mortal heard the voice of God, it would be in the garden at the cool of the day, early in the morning, in the dawn." This is good stuff. You know, sometimes I ask the question about your day, and are you one that can rally in the dawn? And I know there's some people that can't. You know, my daughter has never been an early riser. We used to, have to wake her up over and over and over again in order for us to be on time to get to work. But for her, just to be on time for us to take her where she needed to go, daycare or school. Just never been an early riser. And I'm just the opposite. But she was born at night, so maybe that's it. Don't know. I'm not quite sure. But I asked you this morning, are you stuck in getting up and realizing how well the dawn could be to you, to your own personal psyche, to your meditation, your prayer time, your love, whatever it is that you could get done early in the morning? That would be where the dawn really fits in well. And so, I ask you this morning, it says, are you a dawn person or a dark person? Do you rally in your day early or late at night? And I can tell you, I can do both. I can sometimes, if something's on me and I needed to get it done before the dawn of the morning because something else was already planned, I'm gonna be honest, I may get up early and stay up late. It is what it is. So what is the dawn? It says the dawn is the time of each day before daylight first begins. It says a first appearance, a beginning to begin the day, develops and emerges and starts and is able to make change. And that means that change is that you will watch the sky change. The radiance of the sun will change and become more and more and more brighter. Or even if it's dark, it still lets you know that there's a difference between that darkness during the early hours and the darkness of night. You get it. You understand it. So when we look at dawn, we're looking at the daybreak. We may be looking at sunrise. We may be looking at the aura of it all, the crack of dawn. I know you all have probably heard that. It says we may be looking at a cockscrow, maybe hearing something, or the birth of something. Something is on the rise, the origin, the unfolding. I always love that. The unfolding of your day starts early in the morning at dawn because day is coming in. It also talks about the emergence. I always think that my early hours are so productive because it's my time that no one's on the phone, no one's trying to ask me to do something, write something, attend something. It's early time. And early time I always put as my time. That's my time. It also talks about the dawn being the outset, the onset. I love that. The onset of something happening, the genesis, meaning you're right at the ground of everything that can be set off that day. The inception, the advent, the growth, and the first light. So they give you a lot of different, synonyms for the word of dawn, because it's to me, dawn is like just the breaking open of a day, the newness of it. And when I break the word down, my D is for day. My D is for day because the dawn comes in our days. It emerges even if we don't see it and we're asleep. There is a dawn period. And it says the dawn is the day is the natural light of the day. And anybody ever comes to my house, or ever is around me long enough, they know I like natural light. I like this light much better than when it's dark outside and I have to put on overhead lighting. My preference is natural as much as I can. I even think of how I even carry myself, other than lipstick and eyebrow pencil. I'm about done. In fact, somebody hugged me and got some makeup on, and another friend of mine said, "You don't wear makeup." I said, "You know it," but somebody hugged me, and I have their makeup on my sleeve. But I'm just not I'm not I'm as natural as I can be. Let me put it that way. Um, when we look at the day of light, we're also looking at our sunlight, our daytime, the day itself, the hours of sunlight, because I find that I have a tendency to be maybe less productive when it's dark day and night, like especially when they go back to standard time and the day kind of gets dark. At 4 o'clock, I am done. So all of a sudden my energy is zapped, and I am, not necessarily ready to go to bed, but ready to slow it down, because to me it slows down my energy to want to do things when that period comes during the winter months. And I think we'll at the end of October we move to standard time. And I just find that to be a slow period where even when I wake up, I may have a little energy, but if it's dark all day and then it's cold, there it is. So the daylight also talks about the hours of the day that pretty much is the 24-hour period. The broad daylight, and then of course the daybreak itself, which would be the dawn itself, would be daybreak. When I move further on in my word, I'm looking at the awake time. We may see the dawn of the day if we wake up early enough, but if we don't get up until later on, then the dawn is gone, and we might be waking up at mid-morning, or noontime, or early or late afternoon, and then some people might be evening, depending on the type of jobs that they've become accustomed to. I have a couple of friends that work night shifts for so long that I guess it would be like their circadians or something is different. So they never was able to move back into the regular sleep mode of, their day and their night. They were all mixed up. And so now the night is their day and the day is still their night. And it may be 15, 20 years since they had that kind of job. So it does for some people mess them up or change them around. But when I move further on in my word, my A is for being awake. It says to stop sleeping. Stop sleeping. It says it's wake time, from being wake till you sleep again. And therefore it would be being up, being vertical, at least, maybe even sitting up, but you're up. It says awakened, you're stirring around, you're coming to, I had a procedure done maybe 3 years ago, and they put you under for it, and I remember the doctor saying, "I'm going to sing you a song, but while I'm singing you a song, I want you to count backwards. Start with 100. I don't remember much past 100 and then 99. And when I woke up, she was done singing. I was in a room, and I'm like, how did that happen? So, to be awake is really a conscious period of time, obviously. And when you're not awake, that's just weird. where you lose all sense of time, and you understand the significance of consciousness versus not having the ability to remember and recall what happened. So being awake talks about, it's showing signs of your life. You're able to talk and speak and maybe move or whatever. And even if you're not mobile, the fact that you're still breathing, lungs are, absorbing as much as they can, and you're able to exhale and inhale. And, that means you're awake. And that you're able to, along with the inhaling and exhaling, to communicate. That would mean that you are awake. And then it says you also could be wide awake, meaning you up in the middle of the night. How many of us done that, where we drank coffee or some kind of stimulant late in the evening, and then, we're up 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. We're still up. We're watching the clock change numbers, but we're not able to rest, because to me, rest says that you should really be able to, get down into, for sleep is to be in REM, and not everybody gets down that far. But to be awake also talks about, you're sleepless, meaning you don't have to go to sleep. You're wakeful, conscious, restive, and watchful. You know, when I'm awake, I know it, I feel it. Like this morning, I'm going to tell you what my morning was like. I woke up at about 5:10, and got myself together because I went to exercise at. I had to be there by 6:40, and it takes, depending on the traffic. It wasn't too bad this morning, so I made it there by 6:35, and then I went in to exercise at 6:40. And then, after I finished my exercise, I came back to the house, did all the stuff I'm supposed to do to try to look a certain way, and then had a cup of coffee. So I have my cup of coffee, and I'm now talking to you. But that was my early morning, starting with dawn. But I mean, I watched it get lighter and lighter. I wasn't on the side of the house that has all the sun, but because the sun is at the backside. But anyway, I understood the fact that I was awake. I acknowledged and thank God, because I told you that's who I believe could get me through from night to morning, and let it be that I can wake up and be conscious in it. That's my blessing. When I move further on, and the word dawn, my W is for my work. What work? Like for me, I work during those hours. Sometimes I get up and I may prepare the presentation for Are You Stuck, which is this session we're doing now. Or I may be writing something. I may have a presentation. I may be singing somewhere. I may need to research or write something in a blog, or just get ready. Sometimes it's hard for us to get ready if we try to do it quickly. But I use my period during the dawn and into my early morning of getting myself together, where I'm mentally prepared, physically prepared, and emotionally prepared for whatever the rest of the day is going to be like, to include what I'm going to work on. What's my work going to be? What's going to look like for the day? Good morning, Miss Rosie. How are you? Good to see you in the space. Good to see you. My work activity involving mental or physical effort done in order to achieve a purpose or result is my work. That's the activity I'm doing. What excites me? What gets me, stirred up? What makes me want to do Are You Stuck, and all of these things that I do. Well, that's part of probably who I am, most assuredly, and what I want to do with my life. Others may have far more to do, or far less, or just totally retired. They do nothing all day long, nothing. So their dawn is a period that comes in. They don't pray, they don't meditate, they don't exercise. Um, They don't do anything. And as I said, some of them will sleep through the period of the day that includes dawn. Um, but my work for me is my labor, my toil, my exertion. Let's face it, sometimes I am exhausted. My effort, my slog, my drudgery. Sometimes work that you are given or you give yourself is pure drudgery. There's a lot to do in the areas that you're working on. And it also talks about it may be the industry that you're in, the service that you like to do, because let's face it, sometimes even though you're not being paid, you're still working. And so that is would be at that point considered service. Um, and it's service probably with a smile because you enjoy doing it. And then they talk about work being the grind, meaning we know we got to get it done. So we're going to get out there and we're going to, if it's something we have to walk in or we have to sit all day in or be on a computer or run, whatever it is that we're doing, that's part of the work that we're putting in to the day that we have that started at dawn. Um, then it also talks about it work being the sweat, the elbow grease that we may need to use, the travail, and the moil. So when we look at our days, we look at them in such a way that says that there's a lot that goes into a day if we so choose to pay attention. We are waking up. For me, it's a blessing. For you, it may be, oh my goodness, I got more to do today than I had yesterday. It may be like one of those moments of I can't do all of that because let's face it, sometimes we are overly tasked to get through our days. Um, I was looking at this. I did this particular presentation that I just added a little bit to today was done in 2020. It was done in 2020. So over 4 years ago, when we're looking at the dawn of our day, my end for me is to navigate. I have to figure out early in the morning what I plan on doing and what I don't plan on doing. And I'm honest, if there's things that get on my list that I can't do or won't do, don't want to do, I take them off. I am a person of a list. I will write a list and I put it in my phone. I don't put it on paper, but I put it in my phone and it has a checklist capability to it. So when I finish it, I check it off my list. Sometimes I'm able to roll things over to the next day. Sometimes if it didn't get done that day, it won't get done. Let's be honest. But I do navigate my day. That would be my end of dawn, directly, carefully, and safely directing how I maneuver what it is that goes on in that day. And sometimes we don't do it. We're not intentional in how we're doing it, but yet and still it needs to be done because other things may sneak in. Before you know it, you have too much coming in. Hey, how are you? List girl. Okay, good to see you in the space. Same here. Okay, good. Good, Cheryl. Hey to you and Carney. I'm almost done, but if you didn't, I'm seeing that there's people there, but I don't, I'm thinking some of them just didn't check over on this side that they come all the way in, but that's okay. Doesn't matter, just as long as you hear the message. But my dawn for me also talks about how I point out the things that are important and to take away from the things that aren't important. So with my list, I almost do a include, exclude, put in, take out. That's how I work through stuff in order to say that I plan on being as successful as I can on looking at my day. It also says when we navigate stuff, we channelize it, meaning we don't keep it all on, being high. We look at it as almost prioritizing. What's the most important? Do I need to go to the bank because things are due? It's still towards the early portion of the month. What else needs to be paid? How do you carry out your day? What looks at being important? Um, it also says that when we navigate, we're looking at the guide we give ourselves. No one's making up anything for you. This is your guide, your way of moving out, your way of determining, okay, it's the sun is up, so that means dawn is over. So all the way up. What else is included in my day? And that's what you're looking at. The navigation also is a steering tool. When we look at our lives, sometimes people can get a phone call and that changes the entire day. And I'm not talking about, like a emergency of any kind. I'm talking about sometimes, hey, look, girl, I want you to come and let's go, sit out on the beach. Well, the beach ain't on my list. I'm probably not going. Anybody knows me knows that I'm pretty fixed. I'm not a stubborn bull. No, I'm not. But I do make decisions that work for me. Occasionally you can pull me out and pull me over. But usually I know what I have to do and get done during the course of my day. The navigation also says that I plotted. I figured it out that I can't let you change the plot that I started. My plot is that I have 3 things, 5 things, whatever to get through this day. And, am I off or not? It's the same thing when I'm talking to people and helping them with their dissertations. A dissertation could go on for years and years and years and years if you let it. So, they're never, your advisors, your committees will never let it go until they feel you're in a position to hold the rein yourself. But you got to prove some steps. You got to plot it out. What do they need? What are they looking for? What must I do? What have I proven what my hypothesis was? So that's how I look at living and caring about the dawn. For me, the dawn, that's my nesting place. That's what I use it for. The navigation also says that you twist. You may twist and turn and toss yourself all around early in the morning because you're either uncomfortable with what you have to do or you haven't planned it out that makes it easy to do it. So sometimes you have to take yourself back down to the ground floor and say, what is my priorities? What are my priorities here? How must I address this? Who am I to serve? Self first or others? And sometimes I'm face it, others may win out. They may win out, but it can't be the constant thing that you do. Eventually you have to turn back in and try to reclaim some posturing for yourself that you would complete things. You would get things done. I have a couple of major things coming up that I'm going to make some decision on and how I'm going to address it. So that means I'm still going to be doing Are You Stuck? But I'm going to be using it also as a means to, just impart information to others on sometimes when we're faced with tough stuff, we have to make some tough decisions. And they're not easy. They're not, and they're not for everybody. They're for you and they're personal. So you don't have to let people know all I would say, the finite details of the fine details of your story, but they certainly can know your conclusion is that you made a decision and they see it. And for me, it starts early in my dawn. What's happened early this morning? How can I deal with it, and where can I take that to? So anyway, that is it for today. I did have a few questions. This will tell you how early, because I don't even ask those questions anymore. But this is how early it says, what are some of your dawns? What happens during your dawn? It says, do you get up at dawn or sleep until the sun is truly up and with, the daylight is fully in? Are you an early worker or do you work all day? I'm an early worker and I work all day. That I'm going to answer that for myself. And it says, how do you navigate your days? So all these questions are really good and kind of make you face the fact that either you look at the dawn being important to you, or you may sleep through it, or you may not really worry about it. For me, I use it as my platform for planning the rest of my day. And sometimes it may be for the rest of the week or the month. It may be for all of that. But listen, I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful day. Um, Understand that your dawn can be important. It can work for you any way you want it to. You're the captain of your ship. You know, you're the head of your destination. Make it what it is for you, and stick to it. Stick to it. So listen, have a wonderful, wonderful day. You don't have to send any money. I always tell y'all that. If you want to, you can. But you don't have to. All you can do, the best I say to do, is hit that share button. Let somebody know that there's Winnie's out here, Dr. Winnie, just trying to make you understand that it's important to put some plans in the way, with being able to have the words that can create the conversations that get you what you want in life. Okay? Have a wonderful day. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll see you. I see you on Wednesday. Love you.